The first of our features coming through on Saturday night is the Group 3 Tab Redcliffe Oaks, and what a lineup this is, because we've potentially got the best filly in the land starting, and she is going to start at a very short quote. I think last time we looked with the Tab markets, she was around the $1.14 quote. That's Amore Vita, and she comes up with the inside gate. She is clearly the horse to beat. Darren Clayton is not with us, but he has provided the speed maps, and Kate Butt's going to join us a little bit later to go through her selections for this meeting. But Ryan's with me now, and as we look at this speed map provided by Darren Clayton, this is where he's got them positioned at the bell. No surprises here with Amore Vita being in front from that inside draw. Soho Rhapsody right in behind. Sugar for My Honey is caught without cover, and there you can see Cover Girl. He's got 1 out, 2 back. So that's how Darren thinks they're going to be positioned here at the bell. So how do you see this race unfolding, Ryan? Is it a clear case of Amore Vita just leads and wins?
I think that's the most likely scenario, Chris. She's such a high-class filly. She's a short price favourite to sweep the 3 Oaks features here in Queensland. I definitely think she is the leader, but it's not her natural pattern, that's for sure. She is generally a more of a sit-sprint style mare, but given the setup of this race, I think she'll punch through and lead. Soho Rhapsody will trail, and then Luke McCarthy's probably got the big decision to make, whether he stays 3 pegs or whether he goes 3 pegs or if he stays in the running line. It does look like it'll be a real peggy type of race, so I tend to lean to Cover Girl staying 3 pegs.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think they've got little option but to go to the pegs, because given the splits that Amore Vita recorded last week, winning first up at Albion Park when Chris Alford drove, I think it's probably the best spot to be. And around Redcliffe, as you know, Ryan, that's worth gold. So I think it's clear cut here for mine, Amore Vita. And as you outlined, she's the clear filly to beat for all of these Oaks features. So she's got this race on Saturday night, the Redcliffe Oaks, then the South East Oaks, and then the Queensland Oaks. She is without doubt the #1 seed. The big question though, Ryan, do you think Connections could be tempted in starting in the Rising Sun? There's been a little bit of chit-chat just in the last couple of days. Could she start in that race, taking on the likes of Leap to Fame, Rip, and all of those star 4-year-olds? We know that she's going to draw well, being a 3-year-old filly. If she was your filly, have you got any temptation of starting her in that feature?
Chris, if she was mine, she would be definitely heading to the Rising Sun. And programming-wise, I think it would fit in really well with how the Oaks are spaced here in Queensland.
Okay. What are your selections for the Redcliffe Oaks here on Saturday night?
Chris, I've gone no surprises. Amore Vita on top. She does look like a total moral. Cam Hart's taking the reins. For second, Soho Rhapsody. And I think Luke will stick to the marker line and go 3 pegs on Cover Girl. So it should be quite a peggy style of race. And I thought next best would be perhaps Sugar for My Honey.
Okay, so you've marked them 1, 7, 8 and 4. Very similar for me. I've gone 1, 7, 8 and 11. I've put in the local filly, Always Be Me, as a first 4 hope. She's a very game filly, this one. She ran terrific last week, chasing home Teddy Disco in that 3-year-old feature. And I think she's got a minor place hope. And this is probably the best way to attack this race, Ryan, looking at it with that clear standout favourite in Amore Vita, drawn the ace. We're just playing for the exotics here, aren't we, with Cornella's exactas, trifectas, first 4s and the like.
Absolutely. I can't imagine that Soho Rhapsody from leaders back misses a place. Okay,
so there are our numbers, very similar. Ryan going 1, 7, 8 and 4. My numbers are 1, 7, 8 and 11. That's the thoughts on the Tab Redcliffe Oaks. The first of our Group 1 features on Saturday night at Redcliffe is the Garrards Redcliffe Yearling Sales Series 2-year-old final. And I'm certain here, and I'll be interested in the thoughts of Ryan, but pre-series it was all about Tardelli. It was going to be a matter of how far will he win this race by. He's a Group 1 winner already, taking out the Bathurst Gold Crown. He was very impressive taking out his heat, winning by a widening margin, but time-wise it was identical to our other heat winner, Hold On To Your Blink. And following the barrier draw earlier this week on Monday, it's really evened things up, because Hold On To Your Bling, the other heat winner, has that front row drawer advantage, and Tardelli, the only draw Connections probably didn't want, he got it, the inside of the second row. So Ryan, this has really balanced this race out. It's game on now for mine as far as this 2-year-old feature is concerned.
Absolutely. I love the way the barrier draw has come out for this race. It's turned it into such a thrilling contest, I think.
Well, looking at the markets earlier in the week when they first released it, they went up as equal favourites, 225 each of two. Just at last look, I think the money has come for Tardelli and he's set to run the favourite. And looking at this race, just in recent times, it was first stage back in 2009. Abby Tiara was able to score. And fillies to start with had a really good record. It's really swung in the favour of the Colts and Geldings in recent times. I think they've won the last 5. So 7 of the Colts and Geldings, 5 to the fillies in the 12 editions that we've had thus far. But from a punting perspective, if you're with the favourite, it's normally a good spot to be because they've won 6 of the last 8. So they're really starting to really take a stranglehold on this 2-year-old feature. And as I just mentioned, Tardelli is set to run favourite despite that awkward draw the inside of the second row. Let's have a look now at the speed map provided by Darren Clayton. Let's see how he's got these horses positioned at the bell. So he's got Hold On To Your Bling finding the lead from that wide draw For Real Life up outside him. That was the horse that ran second behind Hold On To Your Bling last week. Foxy 5 in behind the leader. San Maria 1-1 and Tardelli, he's got 3 wide solo at the bell. So how do you read this race, Ryan? Because it's going to be very intriguing now because of that barrier draw.
I think Darren's got the speed map absolutely spot on here. Hold On To Your Bling will be hustling hard early and running to the top. And the big decision will be made from Trent Dawson with his runner For Real Life. When does he go? How quickly does it get up outside into the breeze? From inside back row, I think Tardelli probably has to take luck out of the equation to a certain extent, ease, find the running line and then make a 3-wide move at some stage. How early does Ricky Elchin do that? I'm not sure. If he leaves it too late, he may be posted 3-wide solo the last lap.
Okay, just going back to last week's heats. So our 2 heat winners were Hold On To Your Bling and Tardelli. Visually, Tardelli clearly the most impressive, won by that huge margin. Time-wise, they were identical, but when you break it down with the sectionals, Hold On To Your Bling was a lot sharper than what Tardelli was. Not that Tardelli was really pushed out, but the numbers that Hold On To Your Bling was able to record last week over the final half were really impressive. Sub 28 on the way home. He was good last week, Hold On To Your Bling, Ryan. He just keeps stepping up. He's a very professional 2-year-old, and if he finds the front, he's going to make Tardelli earn this.
Once rolling to the front, and if he can drop another 56 last half, Chris, I think he's going to take an absolute power of beating.
So can he sit 3 wide? If Hold On To Your Bling sort of records similar splits, can he sit 3 wide over the last lap and haul in Hold On To Your Bling?
My answer to this question pre-series would have been a definite yes. Off what we've seen from the heats and his first start here in Queensland, I have my doubts now.
Okay. Your thoughts, how are you seeing this final? Are you going with the local, Hold On To Your Bling, or do you stick with the southerner in Tardelli?
Chris, I'm with Hold On To Your Bling to lead all the way and make it a hometown victory. I think Tardelli certainly can run second, and the ever-improving For Real Life for third.
Okay, so your numbers are 6, 7, 9 and 8. You've popped in Odin's Black Crows for those that are playing the first 4. I've gone the other way. I'm sticking with Tardelli. I think he's good enough to overcome this barrier draw, so I'm going to stick with this proven Group 1 winner. Tardelli on top to bring up his second Group 1 success for the Laspina family and Ricky Elchin. And they've won this race previously back in 2018. Regulus was able to score. He ran the favourite, and Tardelli, as I mentioned, is going to start the favourite for this race. So I think there's more confidence with Tardelli than what there was with Regulus back in 2018. So I'm going 7 to beat 6. Hold On To Your Bling. You can't knock this guy. He just keeps stepping up to the mark. He's been purposely set for this series by Shannon Price and Scott Miller. Adam Sanderson will drive a very cheeky race, I think, here. For Real Life, he's right in the mix. He just keeps stepping up as well each and every time. And Ragazzo Di Tilly, he's out of a previous winner of this race. Matilda de Venter is the dam of Ragazzo Di Tilly, and she was a winner of this race back in 2014. So it'll be interesting to see how he shapes up, but I thought the run last week was good. So 7, 6, 9 and 10, my numbers there. So that's going to be a good battle there between the southerner, Tardelli, and the local star in Hold On To Your Bling. They were the heat winners last week, and this promises to be one heck of a race. The 2-year-old Group 1 feature coming through on Saturday night. Another Group 3 feature on Saturday night is the Redcliffe Derby, proudly sponsored by Northgate Comfort Inn and Suites. And this is going to be a very good race in its own right, because for the first time under race conditions, we get to see Rip. He's a dual Group 1 winner already this season, and he set tongues wagging on Tuesday afternoon with a scintillating trial between races at Albion Park. A tick over 151. As we know, Connections were invited to contest the Rising Sun. They've accepted that invitation, but he's having his final hit out before the Rising Sun. So in many ways, he follows the same path as what the Kiwi star Krug did last year. Krug won the Redcliffe Derby. He was just sensational last year, and then he went on to contest the Rising Sun. Just came up a little short when Amazing Dream was able to take out that feature last year. Can Rip do better than what Krug did last year? Well, we're about to find out. But in saying that, Ryan, this is going to be a real baptism of fire for Rip here. First time beyond 1,800 metres, and he goes to Redcliffe, the tight turning track, 3 straights there, and he's drawn out in gate 6, and it's 2,280 metres. The obvious question that I've got to ask from your point of view, how do you think Rip's going to handle that longer distance racing?
Chris, it's a great unknown. I suppose we're going to find out on Saturday night.
Well, he opened at 175 with Tab, and he is set to run the favourite for this feature despite that wide draw. And just on that trial, Ryan, you've watched it multiple times. Could you believe what you could see there on Tuesday afternoon?
Chris, I don't think I've ever seen a 3-year-old trial better here in Queensland. It was scintillating work.
He was able to push off the gate. He was able to take the trail on Uncle Shank. As we know, Uncle Shank, a local horse, is a very sharp horse over the mile. He kept rolling along, but it was just the ease in which he won that trial, which just left you shaking your head. He pulled out well before the corner, Bernie Hewitt, and he did it very comfortably. Just roared up the home straight. Last half was a tick over 54, and he was very, very good. So that was a sparkling trial. What will he do here on Saturday night? Any concern about the track? And he's a big horse. He's not a small horse, Rip, so this is going to be a real challenge, isn't it?
Chris, I think given the distance, the barrier and Redcliffe first time, they're all negatives without a doubt, but just off what we've seen from the trial and the progression perhaps that he's made, I think he's definitely the one to beat.
Okay. Now, before that trial, because I'll admit, I wasn't sure what to expect of Rip, but after the trial, I thought, wow, he's the real deal. Were you sort of in that same sort of mould there, thinking he's a good horse, he's a proven, dual Group 1 winner already this season, but after the trial, did you think this guy is the real deal?
Absolutely. I thought off the trial, there's the favourite for the Rising Sun.
Okay, that's a big call. Big call.
Well, the barrier advantage with the 3-year-olds and just the lovely, nice type that he is with natural early speed. If he comes out in the Derby and he shows that he can stay, I think he'll be the pre-post favourite. Okay,
like I said, Krug last year, he set tongues wagging. He was stunning winning the Redcliffe Derby. Do you expect something similar from Rip on Saturday night?
Yeah, I think they'll let the dust settle, Chris, and Doug Hewitt at the right time will make the move. Whether he can bully to the front or whether he's left parked out, I think he's clearly the horse to beat off the trial that we saw on Tuesday.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the speed map provided by Darren Clayton, and let's see how he's got these horses positioned at the bell. So he's got Don Liu in front, holding up from the inside for Luke McCarthy. He's got a Rip parked out. Danger Zone right in behind the speed. Teddy Disco, last week's feature race winner. He's won 1, and then My Alderman Cobber on the outside of We Always Have Faith, Sugar Apple and Tim's a Trooper back at the tail. Is that how you see them at the bell, or do you see it a little bit different?
Chris, I see it definitely a little bit different. I think Teddy Disco probably does have the early speed to get across if Nathan Dawson puts his foot flat to the floor. And then perhaps the extent of the early burn will dictate the running positions at the bell. If those leaders that have been involved in a real heady burn early, perhaps once Rip goes up and has a look, he'll actually roll to the front. So I think that's on the cards.
Okay. I'm not sure with this race. I'm not sure if I'm keen to play, because just with so many unknowns here, with the favourite in particular, Rip, and how this race sets up, I'm a little confused, so I'm not sure how to play this race, but I think it's going to be a great contest. I've got no doubt about that. Let's have a look at selections now. I've gone with Rip. I'm going to go with what I saw here on Tuesday from that trial. I've tipped him to score. I think Danger Zone is a real threat, though. I love the progression this guy keeps making. He seems to be the complete package. As we know, he's not entirely comfortable at Redcliffe, but he's been there and done it already. So he's got that great record at the track. I think he's still on the up, this guy, and I think he's a real chance for the derbies in the next couple of weeks as well. Tim's a trooper. I thought he was sound last week, chasing home Amore Vita in that really strong 3-year-old race. And Teddy Disco, like a lot of these horses, they're unknown at this sort of distance range, 2280. Teddy Disco was great last week, 2,040 metres. Last quarter, if there was a little bit of a concern, that was probably it. That was the takeaway for me from that race. So 6, 7, 5 and 3. You're going with Rip as well?
Chris, yeah, I've got Rip on top. I think he's clearly the horse to beat after what we saw earlier in the week. He just looks like he's improved lengths off his Sydney work. Teddy Disco for second. I think he does have the pace to get across and lead the field up. Depending on how much work he does, maybe dictates what actually happens in the latter half of the race. And like you, I'm really keen that Danger Zone can run an excellent race. He's only missed top 3 once in his 12-start career. I think shopping around the $3 mark the place is excellent value. Yeah,
it's a good call. That $3 the place is really good value for a horse that's in super form and a proven performer at the track, and he could be really dangerous. Just camped away there from that barrier draw, the inside of the second row. Small field, so that's not going to be too big an issue as far as the traffic is concerned. So he's certainly a really good place play there in the Redcliffe Derby. That might be my go. I might just back Danger Zone the place because, as I said, it's an intriguing race, the Derby, just with Rip first go at Redcliffe, and he's drawn out in 6 and going beyond 1,800 metres for the first time. So the Derby is going to be a cracker. It is certainly going to tell us a lot more, not only for the Derbies, the Queensland Derby at Albion Park here in the coming weeks, but also the Rising Sun, because as we know, Rip is going to be starting in that Group 1 feature in 2 weeks' time. The Group 1 Redcliffe Cup on Saturday night promises to be a great race. For the first time, $100,000 in prize money, and as a result, it now carries Group 1 status, and the club and Racing Queensland officials would be absolutely thrilled with the field that has been assembled for the 2022 edition. This is going to be a cracking race. First staged at 2,613 metres under the stand start back in 1997, and when the tab markets first went up earlier in the week, it was the 4-year-old winner, Seb's Choice, that was marked as the favourite. He went up at 3.30, and there's been steady money for Seb's Choice right throughout the week. I think at last look, he was trading around $2.80. Ryan, this is going to be a very interesting race. The obvious question, can these two horses, starting off handicaps, overcome those marks, turn it up off 10, Max Shard off 20? Because when we look at the history of this race, 9 of the last 11 winners have started off the front. 2 exceptions being Jack in Flight and I Am Sam. They both started off 10-metre handicaps. Other horses that have overcome handicaps include Home of Jack, Hexus, Slyby and Torado Stone in recent times. There have been a few others. Madawi Prince, Pocket Battleship also starting off handicaps. And when you look at Max Shard, who starts off that 20-metre mark, Pocket Battleship back in 1998 was the last horse to win off a handicap of that size, and a horse that's won off a handicap greater than that was Madawi Prince, who started off 30 metres back in 1994. So history shows that these horses are facing a real big test on Saturday night.
Chris, what an absolute cracking edition of the Redcliffe Cup that we have this year. Now that prize money's over $100,000. Greatest edition, can't wait. It looks like it's the race of the night.
As I mentioned, Seb's Choice is the favourite with Tab. He's a 4-year-old. So if you're looking for a little bit more confidence with Seb's Choice, if you want to back this guy to win the Cup, here's a few other stats for you. He's a 4-year-old, like I mentioned. 4-year-olds have won 4 of the last 9 editions, so they do have a good strike rate. Only the Brave, Majestic Major, Alleluia and Soul Ambition 2 years ago have been 4-year-old winners. So Seb's Choice certainly has that history on his side. Here's one for you, Ryan. As the co-owner of LL Cool J, the last horse to go back-to-back, I'm not sure if this is a good stat or a bad stat for you, you can tell me. Hexus was the last horse to go back-to-back, but it was back in 2003, 2004. Can LL Cool J rewrite a little bit of history here and go back-to-back?
Chris, he probably has a puncher's hope of victory, but he'll certainly need his fair share of luck, I think, in running.
Okay, the most successful driver in the Redcliffe Cup Grant Dixon, he's won 3. His winners have been Atomic Arc, Majestic Major and Alleluia on Saturday night. He is going to be driving Colt 31. Vicky Rasmussen is the most successful female trainer of the Redcliffe Cup. She's won it twice previously, last year with LL Cool J, a few years earlier with Kept Under Wraps. She's got 2 reps here on Saturday night. LL Cool J, who's chasing back-to-back victories, and Turn It Up. So it'll be interesting to see if she can do that. And the fastest cup was Soul Ambition back in 2020. Mile rate 158.9 for the 2,613 metre stand start, but the track record belongs to QLD, who's got a time of 158.7. Both tracks are fast at the moment, Ryan, Albion Park and Redcliffe. Do you think there's a chance they'll go quicker? Do you think there's a chance they could break the track record here?
Chris, I reckon we're $1.10 to break the track record. Both tracks, as you say, are playing lightning quick. We saw Max Shard trial in a stand there not too long ago, and he jogged in pretty much equaling the track record as well. So I think it's $1.01, mate. They're going to go fast. There's lots of speedy types, and it's just going to happen.
Well, just to back that statement up with Max Shard, that trial, that was just over 2 weeks ago. So June 15, for the same trip here as the Cup on Saturday night, 2,613 metres. Mile rate was 158.1. He ran home his last half in 54.9, but staggeringly, his last mile was 152.9. 152.9, he ran his last mile in that stand start trial. So this is going to be a very intriguing race, the Redcliffe Cup. Just looking at it, who was the big winner, Ryan, as far as the barrier draw was concerned from your point of view?
From a stand perspective, we saw Captain Crusader have a start here recently, and he just pinged the tapes. So I think coming up with 1 for him, that's certainly an advantage. He'll be getting that lovely peg line trip. Whether he leads or takes a sip, well, it's the great unknown. I actually, without a doubt, think that the 2 back markers are really well placed in this event. So Turn It Up off 10, Max Shard off 20. They're the class runners. They're going to be on the 3rd and 4th line of betting in the Blacks Are Fake. I think they're well in here under these conditions. Okay.
Do you expect this race to throw up just move after move? Captain Crusader, as you said, if he can ping away like he did in that recent stand start Albion Park victory, do you think they'll want to lead, in particular after what happened last week in the Patrons Purse?
It's the great unknown. I think that a few people will definitely take a shot at him. If Seb's Choice gets away well, he'll definitely be looking for the top. Same said for LL Cool J. What does Max Shard and Turn It Up do? When do they make their moves? That's the great unknown, and why it's going to be a great race.
Seb's Choice, are you confident that he'll get away and time it nicely? And LL Cool J, just going back to that race last week where Seb's Choice was able to beat home LL Cool J, what did you take away from that race? Did he go above and beyond Seb's Choice? Were you disappointed in LL Cool J?
I think Cool J, once he found the top, he probably did underperform without a doubt. Seb's Choice was massive in that first over crush. You can't ask for much more. What I do come back to, though, is that the beaten margins in the race, they weren't that great. So perhaps that's why I lean towards Turn It Up and Max Shard dominating this race rather than Seb's Choice, who's got the front.
Okay, well, let's see how Darren Clayton has these horses positioned at the bell. It's not an easy assignment trying to sort out where these horses are going to be, let alone how they're going to get away. But at the bell, Darren's got them Captain Crusader in front. And he's got Max Shard up outside him. Make Mine Memphis in behind the leader. LL Cool J 1-1. You'd be happy with that position. Colt 31, 3 wide solo. Turn It Up on the back of Colt 31. And then he's got Seb's Choice, the favourite. Midfield, the moving line. So it's a very difficult assignment here, Ryan, to try and find a spot for these horses at the bell. It's hard to predict how they're going to get away. But is that something that you could see unfolding here?
I think it's one likely scenario. If Seb's Choice was to step away well, make a play for the top, if you did take the 290, you'd be on good terms with yourself.
Okay. What are your selections for the Redcliffe Cup?
Chris, I'm sticking with one of my favourites in the form of Turn It Up for first, Max Shard for second, Seb's Choice for third. And I think Northview Hustler's racing very, very well, and he can perhaps run top 4 as well. Okay,
my numbers are fairly similar. Top 3 are definitely similar. I've gone with Max Shard. I think he can defy a little bit of history here, overcome that 20 metre mark. This horse is absolutely airborne. smashed the track record first up at Albion Park. He then won the Flashing Red, and as we spoke about, that trial was just scintillating recently at Redcliffe last mile and 52.9. That's unheard of around that track. Yes, he was in front. He's going to be, coming wide at some point here on Saturday night, but this horse is in the zone. I'm happy to stick with him. Luke McCarthy's won the race previously. He was the driver of Hexus when he went back-to-back, so he knows what's required. He's one of the best drivers in the world, and I think he'll give Max Shard every chance. Seb's choice, I thought, was terrific. Couldn't have been any more impressive last week. Start's going to be crucial for him, like many others here, but with a clean getaway, he's going to be right in the mix. He was super last week, and then the Rising Sun beckons for him. Turn it up. You can't knock the way he's going. Sectionally, he was just unbelievable chasing home Max Shard in the Flashing Red last time out. He's been kept fresh for this race, but that's not uncommon for him. As we know, he's a proven Group 1 Auckland Cup winner. That's a 2-mile stand. And Make Mine Memphis, I thought, was really sharp last week sectionally. And with this nice draw, I wouldn't be shocked to see him feature as well. So 13, 3, 12 and 2. They're my numbers. Ryan going 12, 13, 3 and 7. It is going to be a ripper, the Redcliffe Cup. No doubt about it on Saturday night. Group 1 for the first time. Big prize money. One driver, two drivers that are set to play a big role on Saturday night include Nathan Dawson and Angus Garrard. Both were in the feature race winners circle last week. Let's have a listen to what they had to say about their drives this weekend.